Absolutely. And I mean, like it's one of those discussed topics, right? It's like is what is the role of AI gonna be today, tomorrow, etc. And first of all, I can share some experience I gathered from working with many medium-sized to enterprise clients and their use of AI. And there's a huge disconnect, just to say that. So everybody talks about AI, everybody wants to use AI in their daily processes, but the truth is most companies are not yet doing that. So there's this huge disparity, just to say. And the second thing is, I remember back in school, back in university, when we were doing math exams, right? And the question always was, are calculators allowed? Like what types of tools are allowed to actually do our jobs? And then back in the day, like when my parents were studying, well, they didn't have any calculators. And once calculators arose, they weren't allowed to use them because it was considered cheating. But still, if you wanted to do proper reasoning, come up with proofs, that's still what came out of their own creativity, of their own minds, right? And the calculator is just a tool that helps you speed up certain parts of that. And that's precisely as I regard generative AI today. It's a tool in your tool belt that can get certain things done very well, like taking huge content and summarizing that, right? Something pre-existing, and we're going to talk about that later. But the creation of something from scratch, like based on your company's mission, guide, etc., that's something very different than just taking on small atomic parts or tools, which is what we're going to talk about today. So really, AI needs to put into place, and let's see what comes 1 or 2 decades down the road. At least from my experience in real world projects, we are not there yet.
Absolutely. And I'm afraid I was in that generation where the whole discussion about and whether you could take them into exam rooms was allowed. And it was very similar to when word processors were introduced. And so it was a transfer of skills, in my case, from having learned on a manual typewriter and then to an electric typewriter and then to a keyboard. All of that helped me to do my job faster and more efficiently. The typewriter was a great tool of its time, and there were improvements. And so I look at this in a very similar way. But I really love that wording, take an atomic approach. That's such an impactful way to express how to train AI to do the basics for reuse and scalability.
Exactly. So instead of just, or let's make the stark contrast. What would be the difference? You just fire up ChatGPT and tell it, hey, I need a new help article for XYZ. Just draft it, throw it out. And another analogy I'd like to throw in the mix is we might, because these AI thingies, they're called assistants, right?